Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. It is absolutely scorching here today. You wouldn't think it was September. On the radio on the way here, I heard it has been, in the Scottish borders anyway, the hottest temperature recorded in Scotland for, I don't know, it's like 70, 80 years or something like that. They'd had a temperature of something like 28 degrees down there today, and up here in Linlithgow, a bit further north in the borders, it's around about, I don't know, 21, 22, 23 sort of today. So it's absolutely scorching. So I'm pleased to see my prediction of September being good weather continuing to prove right. Anyway, what are we going to do today? I don't have loads to show you because I've been so busy over the last couple of weeks. Things have been absolutely chaos, so I thought I'd do a bit of a tour. I'll just show you around, show you what's going on at the moment, what's planted, what's not. It's in a bit of, I'd call it transition at the moment. Some areas are messy. You'll see I've not had much time, so things like the weeds and whatnot sort of, you know, you don't keep on top of them. They get a bit out of hand. And I'm looking forward to just having another day up here at some point and getting absolutely blitzed and getting everything sorted. So that'll come. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. I shall spin you round and I'll give you the grand tour of the mess, of the good things and everything else in between. Back with you in just a jiffy. Righty tighty, so we'll start here just as you're coming through the gate, and if we turn to the right hand side, we've got the squash, courgette, raspberry and sweet corn jungle, as I like to call it. The plants on this side, you'll have seen the previous videos that the butternut squash is sort of hiding down in there, and I did think all of these were butternut squash, but some of them got muddled up. And we've got tromboncino courgettes as well. However, not to worry, they're still growing and we'll still use them. The sweet corn's not looking too bad, you can see it there. I think it's almost going to be ready to pick soon. You can see that the wee tassely bits on the end go sort of browny like that, and the sweet corn pulls away from the main stem. So if you look at this one here, still nice and upright and sort of joined there, whereas this one, there's a big gap here and it started to pull away. So I think over the next, maybe it's at the weekend, so this is Wednesday when I'm filming this, maybe come down at the weekend and we'll see about getting the first lot of sweet corn picked. Moving swiftly on, this bed and this bed are just a bit of a mess. So these are, we pulled some onions, some lettuces and whatnot out of here just a few weeks ago, so the beds are a little bit weedy. This is what I was saying just before about how when I've not got much time up here, the weeds are the one thing that gets away from me. However, at the end of this month we have the autumn planting garlic, shallots and onions coming from DT Brown's. So we'll get them propagated and sometime in October we'll get them out, and these beds will most definitely be getting used for that. So look at all the nice lovely weeds. At the end here, this bed here, this is our sort of rabbit trap kind of bed to test for the rabbits coming in or not. So the marigold's grown perfectly well in the middle there, and all this lettuce is bolted, and I think I mentioned previously, it's right next to the comfrey that's not been picked because that's its first year. And the lettuce has got, see, it's got all flowers on it, which is great for the bees. We've still got bees buzzing around. You might be able to see it there. There's one right at the top there, sort of buzzing around. So I'm just leaving that bee for now. Yes, it looks like a bit of a mess, but it doesn't matter because the bees are loving it. Let's just step over here, if I don't get prickled by the thistles. This is the other side of the courgettes and squashes and things, and you can see I've just let them run all the way out here, letting them do their own thing, and eventually they'll get cleared out and we'll see what's left. Over here the raspberries pretty much have a life of their own as well. I've had a good couple of pickings off them here. In fact, you can see the ones there where I've been picking them off, and there's more over there. They're going absolutely great guns at the moment, so there's loads and loads of raspberries to be had. Swiftly back over this way, the rhubarb, I've pretty much stopped picking the rhubarb now. I think the rule of thumb is don't pick rhubarb in any months with an R in it. That's what I've heard anyway. But I mean, there's still some it's a decent size under there and whatnot, but ready for the crowns over winter. I'll just let that die back. You can see some of it's already starting to die back, and the goodness will go back into the crown and sort of feed it over the colder months. Over here, moving swiftly on, we have the potato beds. So this one over here, you'll have already seen me clear out, so we've had all the potatoes out of there. And this one here, still very, very green. These are the Sarpo variety potatoes. There's two different types. The Sarpo Mira and Sarpo Axona. and they seem to be staying lush in the green for an awfully long time. So I'm not really sure how much longer to leave them. Like you say, we're well into September now, and I don't really want to be leaving them too much longer. So I think before the month's out, they'll get dug up anyway. I think regardless of how green it is at the top here, whether they've died back or not, they'll be getting dug up and sorted. And these two beds, they'll just be getting covered over, ready for the winter, because we'll not do anything else with the potato beds over the sort of autumn and winter months. This bed here is where we had the onions in. This is going to get converted to no dig, which is why it looks a little bit unloved at the moment. It's been hoed, there's a few weeds in there, but that's prime for no dig. This one here is a bit of a mess. So we pulled all the turnips, all the Swedes out the end here. They were absolutely brilliant. We've got some kale that is absolutely desperate to be harvested. We've got two very failed cauliflowers here. They look absolutely awful. And finally, the red cabbages here right at the end are going great guns, but still have lots of growing left to do. And speaking of this bed here, much like this one here with the onions in, this one's going to get converted to no dig as well over the winter once all this stuff is cleared out. And onto this bit. Another bed. It looks very same as these two. However, we've got courgettes at the end of it. And we've got a bucket with potatoes in here. So before I get there, this is the Christmas potatoes that we just planted a couple of weeks ago there. I can't quite remember, but you can see they're coming through already. So I've got high hopes for them for giving us some good produce. Down here we've got two courgettes. We've got golden courgettes hiding at the back there, and we've got another trombone chino there, and that one's grown. It's a lot fatter than the ones at the other end. It's not as long, but it's a lot fatter, but that'll be ready to be picked soon, I think. And again, this one's going to become no dig over the winter. So it's 1, 2, 3 beds will become no dig over the winter. So let's venture in. Oh, I want to do the polytunnel just yet. This zone, I've mentioned this zone to you a few times before. It's just covered in weed fabric and a few pallets and whatnot. The pond is going to go in the corner over there. That's a winter project. I've got some more pallet collar beds to come down here. Now the pallet collars, they're just over the other side of the plot there, but I've not put them out yet. And there's a very good reason for that, in that when we look to bring in compost, because I'm going to do some stuff in the polytunnel, and I've mentioned those beds there that are going to go no dig, the little van can come all the way down this road over here, and it can get right up next to my plot, and it can lift the massive ton bags of compost over the fence and put them here. But if I have pallet collar raised beds, they can't put it there. So I'm waiting until I've got all that work done before I put the beds out here. So moving swiftly on into the polytunnel. Now, what do I have? Any mixed results in here? So the tomatoes, there's not a lot of fruits left on them. They've been getting picked. The cucumbers are still going great guns. Loads of blooming cucumbers. You see them all hiding here. There's blooming millions of them. And most of the cucumber plants are still very, very, very green. This one needs propping back up. But there's more cucumbers down there and over there. But the tomatoes, I've had loads of them. I've had loads and loads and loads of tomatoes so far. But, you know, this one snapped. It must have been supported properly, or I'm going to convert this to wire, this bit here, and it's going to be wire over the winter, because it's just the paracord. So I think we'll have wire along there and then the paracord coming down from it. This one here needs a bit of TLC as well. It's all just, it just needs clearing out soon. You can see that the last of the tomatoes are just starting to ripen, and over here as well they're starting to ripen as well. And the cucumber, there's cucumbers everywhere, honestly. There's absolutely blooming millions of them still to go. Let's spin round. Anyway, enough of that side. This end here, this is the chilies. Now the chilies, they're going okay. They were really, really, really slow to start with, and now they're starting to do something. So these ones especially, these are a variety called White Butternut, I think you pronounce it. You can see these ones are ripening here. They're about, oh, I don't know, 1.5 million Scovilles, so they are really, really, really hot. Now the two other varieties, let's see if I can remember them. One's a chocolate something, it's a sort of browny, smoky kind of one, and the other one was called Armageddon, which is about 1.8 million Scovilles. Now none of them are ripening yet, but you can see through there they're starting to look really, really good. And I'll show you these ones here as well. They're starting to look good. So I'm hoping with this oddly hot September that we've got, that these are still going to ripen. very soon. And just to show you how hot it is in September, inside the polytunnel at the moment, it's 33.7 degrees, and we've had a high temperature in here of 44.1 today, and we've got 70% humidity. So no wonder I'm absolutely sweating a brick here behind this camera that luckily you can't see. It's absolutely baking in here. Moving down here, we've got the sweet peppers. Again, they need a bit of help with some of the staking. This one's toppled over a little bit. Some of them are still looking very green. These ones are looking lovely and orange though, and starting to ripen. I did have an orange one. I've had one orange one off here already. There's one ripening there. That one's just starting to ripen as well, so they're looking good. More green peppers over there waiting to ripen. So all looking good on the sweet pepper front. Actually, before I disappear out of here, winter project in here, decking boards, path down the middle, beds built in that side, beds built in that side. All this horrible weedy stuff that you see around here, it'll all disappear and it'll look a million times better. But everything was rushed in here at the start of the sort of year when we got the polytunnel built. Everything was rushed in here to get it growing, to get things going, and then we're going to worry about making it look all nice and pretty over the winter time when there's not as much happening here. We've got space and we've got a bit of time to get things done. Right, moving back outside. Oh, I said blessed relief coming out of there. I really feel all these farmers and things like that, these people who work commercially in polytunnels, man, it must be an absolute killer in the summer. It must be awful. Anyway, empty bed. Probably again some of the winter garlic, onions, shallots, something's going to go in there. These beds here, I mentioned there's these 3, 1, 2 and 3 over there is where we planted some new things out the other day that I mentioned. We've got a mix of lettuce, spinach and beetroots, and they're all going great guns. The spinach is looking brilliant in there. The lettuce is looking decent in there, all at different stages, which is fab. Leeks over here, the leeks are going alright actually. Look at that one, that's looking pretty decent. They're not looking too bad. I was a bit late in planting them, but they're going great guns now. The sprouts are starting to get big. They're going to need released from their enclosure soon, but I've got a plan for them. I'll come back to that in a minute. The courgettes. So the golden courgettes are going pretty good. They're still producing. The green courgettes. Now there's one green courgette and it was quite big. And I thought, well, you know what, just for a laugh, let's let it grow for a bit more. So here it is. Look at the size of this courgette all the way down there. It's probably 18 inches long, and I dread to think how much it weighs. So I might get some scales for when it gets picked, but I'm still going to let it grow for a bit yet to see what happens, and just to see how big it goes, just for a bit of fun, just to see what happens. Spinning around here, the purple sprouting broccoli, it needs released from its enclosure. Now, the problem we've got with the purple sprouting broccoli is, well, one, purple sprouting broccoli is starting to appear and grow very, very early in the year, which is odd. It's brassica, as are the sprouts. The sprouts are going to outgrow that enclosure. But we have something down the other end of the plot there that I will come to at the end, something called neem oil, and I'll talk a little bit about what I'm going to do with that to help out with the brassicas. Right, moving swiftly on down here and round the corner. What's growing here? So we've got the 2 bean frames here. The green French beans, I think, are pretty much done. They didn't climb very well, but we've still got a good couple of harvests off them. But oddly enough, the better ones are these purple ones. Here you can see there's loads of them. They were really, really slow to get going, the purple ones. But there's absolutely loads of beans on them. I've probably had 3 or 4 harvests off here already, enough to feed sort of 3 people at a time. And you can see there's still loads of them going, and there's loads of flowers and buds and stems and things along the top here. So they're still going, so they're absolutely brilliant. And over here, which side should we go down? Let's go down this side. We've got the Bolotti Beans, and you can see, we'll show you the young ones at the top, where they have this sort of green with the red speckles on them. As they get more mature, they go much more red. And you can do 2 things with them. One, you can pick them when they're really, really young, like at this sort of stage, and you can just cook them as they are, or you can let them get much bigger and fatter, like these ones down here, and you can dry them out and use them as a dry bean, and that'll store over the winter, and I'll use them there. And I think this is a pea growing here. It doesn't seem to be doing very much, but yeah, that's the Bolotti beans. But the bean area again, over the winter, I've kind of already started, so you can see I've started putting in paths here. I need to get the wood chips to go on top of them, but it's a bit messy here because this is going to be extended out. That bean frame is going to be extended because we're going to increase the beans and the pea production next year. Quick walk down here. Compost bin, ooh, looking a bit messy, ooh, not very nice. The dumping ground. The flower bed looks a bit messy. The sunflowers have died. I always just leave them be when they die because the birds come along and eat the seeds out of the head. Again, the weeds here, you know, we've got the sort of Livingston daisies here that open and close with a light, which are absolutely lovely. But loads of weeds. It just needs sorting out, but don't have the time at the moment until I get something sorted. Moving swiftly on. Strawberries. The strawberries are doing alright. You can see there's loads of runners starting to come out. I don't mind, you can stick them in pots, so you can just let them grow where they sort of land in the bed. I'm going to do that because this is all going to get sorted out over the winter, so the strawberry plants will get dug up. I'm probably going to put some weed fabric down and plant the strawberry plants through that, and that's going to stop any of the problems with the weeds coming through, hopefully, as the year goes on. So any runners that establish and things like that will get lifted and replanted. And speaking of not having enough time, that was the cover that was on them to protect them from the rabbits that I've not even had time to put away. It's just been dumped at the side. The blueberry bushes are doing okay. These were just planted this year, very, very, very small, and they're just starting to sort of establish themselves. So hopefully next year we'll get some fruit off them. This area here is just a bit of a dumping ground. It needs tidied up, and once I can get some sand, that's going to come out there with all these paving slabs here, and a nice area for me to sort of sit and admire everything I've been doing. Carrots in a bucket. Again, one of the previous videos I've done, I mentioned about doing autumn carrots. So these are the carrots that are growing in the bucket up on top of the slab, so hopefully it's high enough up for the root fly not to be able to get to it. Anyway, last but not least, I mentioned earlier on neem oil. Here we go. Here's neem oil. There it is. Cold pressed neem oil, 100% pure. So this is a natural pesticide against animals that eat, or against insects that eat leaves. So it doesn't affect other sort of flying insects and things like that, but there's loads. I don't know if you can see, there's one flying about there. You might be able to see it, you might not, but there's still a lot of butterflies around, especially the cabbage whites at this time of year. So the neem oil, I'm going to spray on the brassicas down the bottom, all the way down there, once they've been released out of their netting. So I've got this sort of pump action spray sort of thing. So you mix the neem oil with water in there, pump it up, spray it on the brassicas. If something does come along and lay eggs on there, hopefully the neem oil will do the trick and stop it from growing and eating away at anything that's there. Well folks, that has been a sort of whistle-stop tour of everything that's going on at the moment. Apologies that it's a bit of a mess, but I've just not got the time at the moment to keep on top of the weeds and keeping everything tidy. I've been concentrating on getting things growing, which I think is more important than tidying up some weeds. I was mentioning the neem oil at the end there and that little spray thing. As always, with anything useful that I use around here, I put the links in the descriptions down below. So if anybody wants to go and have a look at what they are, click on the link, that'll take you to Amazon and you can see exactly what they are. Anyway, that's me just about done for today, and I will see you on the next one, folks. Bye for now.